Hi there, welcome to this week's Weekend Warrior video. I'm Mike Watchmaker, National Handicapper for Daily Racing Form. The three stakes races I'm going to talk about for this Saturday include two from Tampa Bay Downs. The first one will be the Tampa Bay Derby, then the Hillsborough. And I'm also going to talk about one of the four stakes races Saturday at Aqueduct. That would be the Busher Stakes. The Gotham is the big main event on that card, but the Busher is the one I'm going to address. But let's begin with the Tampa Bay Derby. And Well Defined, and Dreammaker are the first three favorites here on the morning line. I think Dreammaker is, without question, the most dangerous of all of these horses. The way he won his 3-year-old debut last month at Fairgrounds, it would suggest that he's a completely different, vastly improved horse this year at 3 than he was as a 2-year-old. But I'm just a little bit skeptical. I want to see him do it again. Uh, because that comeback race was so much better than the three performances he delivered last year. I just need to see some validation. And the other thing is, I do believe Dreammaker is going to be considerably lower than the 4-to-1 price he is on the morning line. As for the other two I mentioned, and Well Defined, Win is actually the favorite on the line. He might go off the favorite. I think Dreammaker is going to get a lot of support in here. Win does come into this off a big stakes win over the racetrack, that being in the Pasco Stakes. He won that race by more than 7 lengths, got a 99 Buyer speed figure, and that is a field best here. But this will be his first attempt going 2 turns, and I do believe Win has a very strong profile as a closing sprinter. So I'm a little bit dubious about his ability to get the added distance here. As for Well Defined, he also comes into this off a stakes win over the racetrack. He won the Sam Davis, the stepping stone to this race, at this mile and a 16th distance in his last start. But Well Defined completely controlled the pace in that race. And there's other speed in here to challenge him early, namely stretch out sprinters with a fair amount of early speed, and they being Zendet in the right path. And I don't think Well Defined is going to get as loose and be in as control of the pace as he was in the Sam Davis, and I think that makes him vulnerable. I'm going to take a shot in here with Tacitus, who's 12-to-1 on the line, and I think he should be every bit of that price. Much was made last week about Hall of Fame trainer Bill Mott running Hidden Scroll in the Fountain of Youth Stakes off of only a maiden victory in his career debut. It really is a conservative trainer, but he did it. Anyway, he's doing the same thing here with Tacitus, who we're looking at in his maiden victory in his most recent appearance at Aqueduct. Mott's not only doing the same thing here with Tacitus, running a horse off a maiden victory in a graded stakes race going long, a Derby prep, but he's also doing it off a 4-month layoff. And he's doing it for the same barn, the Juddmonte farm. I think that that's indication that this horse is also considered well regarded in the barn, and I think that that's noteworthy. We looked at his maiden win; that was a pretty solid field he beat that day. He ran in a live maiden race in his career debut at Belmont last year. He's first time Lasix, which is a good move percentage wise for the Mott barn. And I just think that, and this horse has the closing style that I think is going to really fit the pace scenario in here. I just think Tacitus is a long shot with a bit of a chance in this spot. That's why I went with him. Let's move on to the Hillsborough. The Tampa Bay Derby is race 11. The Hillsborough was race 9. And Hawksmoor won the Endeavor Stakes in her last start. That's the local springboard to the Hillsborough. And she was tons the best winning that race. She's a speed mare. She missed the break. She broke glass of the field at 10. It forced her to come from off the pace, but come from off the pace she did, and she got the money. The problem is that this is a significantly tougher field than she beat in the Endeavor, primarily because of the two horses that Chad Brown entered in here, they being Rimska and On the Moon Again. And of those two horses, the one I want is On the Moon Again. On the Moon Again has run 3 times in the U.S., and her form is considerably darkened due to circumstances that weren't in her control. She had a terrible trip in a U.S. debut last summer at Saratoga. She had major stretch trouble. She wound up third that day. She ran back into Glens Falls, and she was severely compromised by a pace that was ridiculously slow. I mean, it was glacial. 121 and change for 6 furlongs. It was absurd. In any event, her closing was certainly compromised by the pace in that race. And she made her most recent start in the Flower Bowl over a very tricky turf course. It was an off course that a lot of horses didn't handle, and also against Four-Star Crook, a barnmate of hers who was a very, very good performer. And On the Moon again got the lead in the stretch, but Four-Star Crook just plain ran her down. No disgrace there. And I think if On the Moon runs back to her Flower Bowl, she's going to win this race. And I actually think her price is going to be palatable in here. So it's On the Moon again for me in the Hillsborough. Let's wrap it up with a look at the Busher. A lot of different ways for horse players to go in this spot, but the one I want here is Oxy Lady. Now I know that Oxy Lady is a bit of a polarizing horse, and I understand it, and I can't dispute the fact that the 94 Beyer speed figure, she got 3 starts back for winning the Tempted, really sticks out like a sore thumb. It looks like an aberration. It's a definite outlier. It was probably a number that was much lower than that. And I know that she ran dismally in her 3-year-old debut in the Rachel Alexander last time out, finishing a distant 6th. Still, I'm going with her because at least when she won the Tempted, questionable figure or not, she did so over the Aqueduct main track at this 1-mile distance. The other thing about it is that she is second star off the layoff now, and then 2 starts back in her final start as a 2-year-old. She was a good 4th in the Grade 1 Starlet behind Chasing yesterday, Enya Arab and Mother, and that's just a stronger field than she faces here. And I actually think a duplicate of that race would probably be good enough to get the money in here. And the third reason why I like her here, much for the reasons why I like Tacitus in the Tampa Bay Derby, is that I think the pace here is going to be contested and unsustainable. I think this race is going to be one from off the pace. And Oxy Lady is a horse capable of coming from off the pace. So it's Oxy Lady for me, despite a couple of flaws in the Busher. That's the way it looks for this week's Video Weekend Warrior. Good luck.